Welcome everyone to the Ravit Show. I'm thrilled to share that we have a very special guest today. He is a veteran of the technology industry and an active force for shaping the world of big data and AI. He's four-time CEO with over 150 million in investment capital and over 7 billion return to investors through IPO and merger and acquisition. He is an active investor, board member, and advisor to dozens of data and AI cybersecurity companies as well. He's currently CEO, chairman at Scale, executive chairman at Snowplow, and on the boards of Tetra Science and Collide. I'm pretty sure you guys might have guessed who it is, but I'll let you comment in the chat and let us know who it is. Before that, a quick heads up that we are also doing a very cool giveaway, which we usually do for all the attendees. That is the Ravit Show swag. So feel free to type in hashtag the Ravit Show in the chat, and we'll choose one winner towards the end of the show. But without any further ado, let me welcome one and only Chris Lynch on the Ravit Show. Here we go. Chris, welcome to the Ravit Show.
Thank you, Robert. Great to be here.
Thank you very much. So, Chris, I'm super excited to learn more about your journey to and through the world of data and AI and a little more about what makes you tick. So, I'll definitely be getting into learning, and I'm sure the audience joining us already know you, a lot of folks, not that you're new to the data science and AI world. But Chris, please tell us a bit about yourself and your extensive experience in the tech industry, and how has each of your experiences prepared you for your next role?
Well, Robert, thanks for having me here, and I'll do my best to both educate and entertain. So in terms of my career, I started out in sales, and I think it prepared me. I think you in that question was what prepared me for where I am today. A lot of what I've done in sales, I think I bring to my role as an investor, my role as an executive and leader, because at the end of the day, everything's about customers, and everything that happens in a company really evolves around the ecosystem of customers. So I think starting out in sales was a great way to prepare and lead companies customer first, which is the way that at Scale and the other endeavors I'm involved in run.
Yep. I think, Chris, that is a very important point in terms of, having the customer first. We have heard it from at Scale time and again in all the sales folks as well, even the customer success managers that, at Scale has kept their customers first in every situation, which definitely is outstanding in terms of the customer service. But I also wanted to, bring up a very big announcement that happened. At Scale just made an announcement about the incredible momentum of the company. So can you also tell us about why you decided to join at Scale and your perspective on the role of the semantic layer in the modern data stack? And semantic layer, as we all know, is so hot right now. So would love to learn a little about that as well.
Sure. Well, at the time, I was still an investor, and I was introduced to at Scale as from an investment perspective. And I met Dave Mariani, the founder, some of the co-founders. And first and foremost, I fell in love with them as a team, what they represented, what they were about. And as I looked at, and I had been investing in data and AI in companies like Data Robot and Newtonian and DataCamp, and being the CEO previously of Vertica, I was definitely cognizant of the importance of data and the role data would play in the evolution of big data and AI and ML. And when I saw what Dave and the team were building, I recognized that his vision, while early in the market, was going to become more and more important, because my thesis is it is about the data, and everything else is fueled by the data. So when I saw what they were building, the potential to separate analytics from the complexity of the infrastructure, it was clear to me that he was onto something.
I think definitely that's what we've been seeing, all the data professional enterprise leaders out there talking about the semantic layer and how it's helping them to shape up in how it's growing in the data space. So uh, totally agreed on that point. Also curious, since you've been around so many, the SMEs and obviously the leaders in this space. So how do you see, like, what will be the role of AI and ML be in transforming both SMEs and large enterprises? And how can companies leverage these modern technologies and streamline their processes? Would love to learn a little about that as well, Chris.
Sure. When I was the CEO over 10 years ago of Vertica, I used to say that there are two types of companies, enterprises, those that embrace big data and big data concepts, and those that'll be out of business. So I think that our industry of data, and harnessing the power of data and applying that to enterprises, that's going to be the lifeblood of every business. And I think that's becoming more and more true every day. Equally, I believe that AI and advanced BI techniques will have to be embraced by the next generation of companies, or they simply won't survive. So I think the application of data is probably the single most important thing in every enterprise, in every industry, period, full stop.
I agree 100%, Chris.
Now, what
That's
I
a
will
very
say
important.
with respect to SMEs, I didn't answer the second part of your question. I do believe that the obstacle to what I just stated is enterprises' ability to absorb and apply AI technology. So I think that we've hit a plateau of data scientists being able to use data science platforms. We simply don't have enough data scientists, and frankly, there's a marginal return on algorithm optimization. The step function in value will come from applied AI, meaning AI powering traditional enterprise apps so that the user can benefit from AI without having to necessarily directly interact with the technology from a development perspective, let's say. So think of BI users getting all of the value that they could get from their BI tools if their BI tools were AI enabled. So I think you're going to can see a convergence, right? There's a bridge between AI and BI, and I believe it's at scale.
Wow. I think you just hit the nail there, because we've been seeing Chat GPT as well, and how the AI is kind of progressing. And I think that bridge is something which a lot of leaders in the space, obviously those BI architects or the enterprise leaders, are kind of looking at it very closely. How can they bridge that in? I'm pretty sure at scale does it very clearly. So thanks for that info, Chris. Also, you mentioned a little about the future. So in your opinion, what are the most important trends that will define the next 5 years in data and AI? I'm kind of curious to learn it from you, because obviously you not only obviously you are a CEO at scale, but you also are on the board of many of the other companies who are in the same space or a little different. So would love to hear more about that.
Sure. So I think that the next wave of growth with regard to AI and ML is going to be to graduate from the platforms that have been built and the cloud infrastructures that are now optimized to deliver the data, to merging those things and integrating them with applications. So vertically integrate AI-powered applications. So I think you'll see verticalized stacks sitting on top of these powerful cloud platforms. Tetra Science would be an example of that. That's a company that optimizes drug discovery through next-generation data concepts, but integrated into a SaaS platform, completely and easily consumable in the life sciences space. I think you'll see verticalization of applications, AI applications in this next wave, and you're going to see a series of what I call applied AI applications, where people are harnessing the power of domain expertise, and
Right.
one logical view of all of the data with these next generation deep learning and AI concepts.
Right. I think definitely, Chris, you mentioned something which is very important about applied AI. But moving on and shifting gears a bit here in terms of, obviously about the current scenario and the current economy. We are going through a down cycle in business and in tech in general. I know this is not something that you might have seen for the first time. So, what is your perspective on managing and leading tech companies through this environment? Because a lot of startups, even the mid-sized companies, are kind of going through this rough cycle. So, what are your tips and tricks? Any hacks that you might have, seen throughout the years? So, would love to hear about that.
Sure, sure. So I have seen a number of these, and I think let me start with what's the same about all of them. I've probably experienced 4 or 5 downturns in my career. What's the same about all of them? First and foremost is they end, and
Right,
the world will normalize, and 5 years, 7 years, 10 years from now, we'll be in another boom, and everyone will forget the lessons from
right,
this crash, and that's human nature, I guess. But the other thing that's identical in all of these, the cream always rises to the top. So what is that?
mm,
First and foremost, focus and be intellectually honest about, are you building a business? If you're building a business, invest behind revenue, not in front of it. Cash is
mm,
king in times like this when everyone's hiding under the table. So cash management, it's an opportunity to upgrade. If anybody
mm.
hasn't noticed, the labor market just got a lot looser. So there are opportunities to attract better talent,
Right.
more competitive prices, for example. So in a
Mm,
downturn, there are a lot of opportunities. There are opportunities to expand markets you go into based on companies being undercapitalized. So I think
right.
be conservative with your cash, be intellectually honest about what your
Mm,
business is, um, invest conservatively, and almost exclusively in what I say makers and sellers. Right? At
right.
the end of the day, the essence of every startup is about making something and selling it. So that's in times of financial distress. Those are
Right.
places that if you have a going entity, you have to continue to invest in. Other places, right, you can sort of scrimp on until the markets come or your business comes. But the key thing is invest behind revenue, not in front of it. And you should do that generally speaking, but particularly in times of economic strife.
Yeah. No, I think these are pretty interesting points, and I'm sure the audience watching us would, and the founders who are kind of, building it from ground level, or maybe they are in the mid level. These tips are very helpful. So thanks for sharing these insights, Chris. One more thing I'm super excited about is, which is obviously coming up, and I'm excited to be a part of this this year is Tech Tackles Cancer. The Ravit Show will actually be covering the complete event this year. I'll be personally at the London event on the May 24th, benefiting children, with Cancer UK. So, Chris, could you tell us about the history of Tech Tackles Cancer and why you founded it? Because it's a very noble cause, and I'm so happy I could even be, be that small part of it. So, yeah, I would love to hear about it.
Well, Robert, first of all, thank you for making the journey to cover the event. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person live there. Um, so I started Tech Tackles Cancer some time ago, and I guess the Germany idea came from a family, a young man I met in the course of my business career, and
Mhm.
I got to know this young man, and he was probably 8 years old, and he called me Uncle Chris, and I won't bore you with the whole story, but the story ended in him saying, "Hey, Uncle Chris, my folks say you can do anything," and this is a young man that was diagnosed with cancer. So, at 8, you understand, what that means. You understand what death means. Yeah. And he was so brave, and I was trying to hold him not to cry, and he just said, "I heard you could do anything. If you really can, help other kids like me." And he just gave me a hug, and that was, it was in my mind, and I had an opportunity when I started my career in venture to actually extend my network inside of multiple communities, not just my own companies. And I decided that I was going to start with Tech Tackles Cancer, in part in dedication to that family. But all of the families, the inspiration I draw from these people with tremendous courage, right? They have this tremendous burden. Imagine being a parent or a child in the situation, and the courage you see, the determination, the perseverance, right? All the things that the best entrepreneurs have. So I felt like building a community around this would, one, develop the muscle memory with entrepreneurs that it's not just about us. We're very fortunate to have the kind of careers we have, given the dynamics of technology. It's easy to get lost in that, in what you do. And I think this allows people to kind of figure out that, the world is bigger than us. And, we have a responsibility with all the gifts we've been given, to apply those, for greater good. And I think this is one way of doing that hopefully inspires the people that come to these events to figure out other ways and other problems we can tackle. But at the end of the day, a child is diagnosed every 3 minutes with cancer. It's one of the largest killers of children in the world. And it's the research for pediatric cancer, which is different than adult cancer, is underfunded. It's a smaller market. So the research that we fund is finding cures that are creating longevity for these families, resources like One Mission to support these families. And the event in London is our first outside the US, and it's important because Tech Tackles Cancer and pediatric cancer is a global cause. It's not
exactly
to the US or Boston, right? Innocent children all over the world. And it's one way that we can affect change. And I'm hoping that we're going to inspire others, and we'll talk more about that at the event.
Yeah, I can't wait for sure, Chris. So this is definitely something good for the community that we're looking forward to doing. Excited to be a part of it. And the way you do it,
what's your favorite song, Rabbit? Do you like rock and roll?
Rock and roll is amazing. So that's one of the reasons, though I'm not a singer, I love to cover it. I can't sing as good as you can, Chris. So can't wait.
Well, I've set a very low bar for you. We're going to have to see. So be ready. Let me pull you up.
Sounds like a plan. I'll give it a shot. Let's see how that goes. But just about the rock and roll theme, can you tell our audience what do you exactly do at TTC? Just a quick insight about how it works.
Sure. So we have a professional band, people that have played with David Bowie and like real rock stars, and people post up from their companies someone that is going to represent those companies, and they're going to sing a song, and they're going to be a rock star for that song in that evening. And if you've seen any of the video from previous events, particularly the one last year, you're at a rock concert, and it's a rock concert in every way. And it creates an experience, I guess, for the people on stage and the people that are participating, that are there, and they vote on the winner, whoever impacts them. And it's about having fun. It's about connecting with people. It's about educating people on the cause that we're there for, and inspiring people to find their own mission.
Wow. And I did watch out those videos, and the energy was so good and so nice where there were so many performers last year in Boston, so I kind of missed that one, and that's one of the reason I didn't want to miss the London event. So looking forward to it. Thanks, Chris, for sharing all the details. I'm sure a lot of the folks in London could come up and join us for this cause. So definitely excited about it. Also, Chris, talking about tech tackles cancer and the other bigger things that you obviously do for the community. There's one question that is kind of personal that I wanted to touch on, which is who or what has been your biggest inspiration in life? What keeps you like inspired to keep giving your best every day at work? Because I know for a fact, like it's been more than 4 decades that you're working already, or maybe yeah, more than 4 decades, I guess. So, would love to hear more about how are you even keeping up with it every day?
Sure. So, in terms of my inspiration, it comes from my family and it comes from the entrepreneurs that I work with. The ones I invest in, the ones I work with at scale directly. I think it keeps me young. It keeps me vibrant. It keeps me relevant. So I do it because it's fun. It's not work, frankly. So that's definitely a big piece of it. Mentors I've had in my life,
Yep.
both business and non-business. People like Paul Ferry, who's the founder of Matrix Partners, who's still the head of that firm. People like Jit Saxena, who's on my board at Scale, who's a serial entrepreneur well into his 70s, and he's investing and building and teaching and learning, as he was in his 30s. So these people inspire me, and I don't see myself ever stopping, honestly, because I love what I do, and I love working with people like yourself and the team at Scale, and they push me, and hopefully I push them, and a combination of all of these brilliant minds and my spirit and tenacity, I think, is a winning formula, and we'll continue to play it until we lose, and I'm not planning on losing.
This is amazing, Chris. I think one thing that obviously I've known you for more than 2 years now, at least. I've come more closer to at scale, and one thing that I can definitely validate is your energy, and that kind of keeps us all motivated in a direction where it makes us more focused. It keeps us more uh, intrigued about learning new things, doing new things, and obviously growing in this direction. And and again, be a leader in yourself. Like, be a leader and go out there and do things differently and make it valuable for the folks on the receiving end as well. So thank you very much, Chris, for this and keeping us all motivated. But definitely, those are great points in terms of keeping you inspired every day to do your best. So thanks for sharing again. And one quick question. I know we are almost time, but one quick question that I had for our audience. I'm sure a lot of them would want to, reach out to you. Might have more questions for you. Uh, so, what would be the best place for them to reach out to you if they wish to and learn more about at scale, about investment, about startups, about big data? And I think things can go on when it's you. So, which is the best place they can reach out to you, Chris?
So they can reach out to me at chris.lynch@atscale.com. And
Awesome.
they can also message me on and follow me on LinkedIn.
Amazing. So, folks who've joined us today, you know where you can reach out to Chris. Chris is like I mentioned, obviously, I've worked with Chris closely more than 2 years. So I can vouch on the advices. I can definitely say he's one of the best leaders out there. So go follow him on LinkedIn and shoot out questions for him. Thank you very much once again, Chris. This was pretty interesting, and amazing insights that you've shared on the Ravit Show. It was such a pleasure hosting you. This was your debut, but I can't wait to do a 2.0 session in person, maybe on the 24th of December in London. So we'll learn more about things. We'll learn more about the energy of tech tackles cancer there. So looking forward to it. Thank you once again, Chris, for visiting the Ravit Show.
Ravit, it's my pleasure. I'm looking forward to seeing you May 24th in London. And I'll email you my set list and you pick whatever song you want to join me on.
Definitely, Chris. Thank you very much once again. And I'll see you very soon.